What I'm doing today is going around and taking a look at some of the historic school buildings here in this area. I'm a teacher and I like local history, so this is a topic that really interests me a good bit. The one you're about to look at is the old Westville School in Westville, Florida, which, judging from the architectural style, was probably built around the 1930s or 40s, somewhere in there. Now, I'm not going to walk around it because it currently houses the Tri-County Head Start School, and there are people here working, so I don't want to get fussed at for snooping around. So it gets the honorable mention here at the beginning of the video. This is the old Eugenia schoolhouse built in 1903. Now, I've actually already talked about this school building a bit in another video. Click the banner at the top to see that video, and I'll also put a link to that one at the end of this video so you can hear more information about it. This next one is located in the tiny town of Darlington, Florida, just inside of Walton County. I really love how well this old school building has been preserved. According to Walton County's official website, the school was built in the early 1900s and was used for classes until the 1980s when the school was closed. But since then, it's been used as a community center and is maintained by the county, and they have done quite well maintaining it, I might add. I really love how well preserved this old wooden building is, and I hope it can stay here for a long time. Matter of fact, all of the old school buildings that I'm featuring in today's video are still being used for various community functions. I started to place my GoPro right up to one of the windows to get a good look inside, but naturally the window that I chose had a giant wasp nest right underneath it, and I almost got popped by them, so I decided it was safer to keep my distance. Now, what we have here is the historic Vernon High School. This building was built in 1939, as you can see by this well-placed stone in front of the flagpole, and it was home to the Yellow Jackets until the 2006 school year, when classes were moved to a new facility over on the other side of town. Now, this building currently houses the Vernon City Hall and a few other offices, and it's also used for various community functions like meetings and Zumba classes and whatnot. It is also used as a polling station during elections, and if I'm not mistaken, the place just recently had some roof work done as well. The next three schools are located in Chipley. This one is the former home of the Kate M. Smith Elementary School, or just KMS for short. KMS was constructed in the 1950s and was named for longtime Chipley educator Kate McSwain Smith, who passed away in the early 50s as plans for the new school were being drawn up. For years, the facility proved to be too small to house the student population, so much so, in fact, that the school board bought an old house on this corner that you're looking at, and this is the place where I went to 5th grade, right there in someone's former living room. Sadly, the aging facility became too costly to maintain, and much of it was torn down after students were moved to a new facility for the 2016 school year. But the cool thing is that Google Maps hasn't been updated yet, so you can still see what it looked like when you're on Street View. This place is where yours truly was once a tiny tiger. This is where I learned how to tell time with that big yellow clock and the see-through gears. We even had a real-life stuffed giraffe and lion in the lunchroom. Boy, those were the days. Anyway, all that remains of the school are the cafeteria and the 3rd grade building, which are being used as the school board meeting room and offices. Next, we have the former home of Rolack Middle School, which was named after distinguished African-American educator and longtime Washington County resident, T.J. Rolack. Before the desegregation of the mid-1960s, this facility housed the town's African-American students all the way up to 12th grade. Mr. Rolak had for years been the supervisor of the county's black schools, and in 1938 he was appointed principal of the Chipley School, which was later officially named in his honor. This facility was in use until the 2000 school year, when classes were moved across town to a new facility. It just so happens that I was in the first 6th grade class to move to the new school. Anyway, like the other schools we've looked at, portions of this one are still being used for community functions, but sadly some parts of it are falling into an extreme state of disrepair. Now, I've saved this one for last because it's the former home of my alma mater. The historic Chipley High School was built in the 1930s along with its counterpart down in Vernon and was used for classes until 2000. My big sister was actually in the final senior class to graduate from this facility. These days, the old school still sees a great deal of use by the school board and other community-related enterprises, and even houses the local theater company called the Spanish Trail Playhouse, which is headed up by a friend and colleague of mine. The school's football stadium is also currently used by both the middle and high schools here in town for home games, and this place also houses the county's alternative school. Most of this facility is still intact except the former library, which was demolished a while back after having sat empty for years from being damaged by fire. Even though these buildings are no longer used to house high school students, it's great to me that they aren't going to waste. Here's hoping that here in Chipley and in all of these communities I've mentioned, that the people continue to make use of these historic places.